Hey Warrior Martial Arts, I have problems with my emotions, but not the way you might think. My last sparring, I sparred my coach and some random guy, but for some reason, especially with my coach, I am afraid that sparring each other could alter our relationship. Even with someone random, when I hit someone hard, I don't really know why, I feel the regret and anxiety that I shouldn't have. The regret and anxiety is overwhelming. I don't think it's natural. I also feel under pressure because I get scared and I'm also anxious towards the pressure. Great question, and I apologize. I've owed this guy an answer to this question for quite a while and I've just not got round to it. So apologies, sir. Let's get right into it. We got a couple of things to break down here because this is slightly different. I did a video previously and I think this was a comment on that video about controlling your emotions in sparring. Not getting too worked up, not getting too upset, understanding that sparring is sparring. This is a little bit different because what he's concerned about is how the sparring would affect their relationship outside of the sparring. And I can understand why you feel this way, because if your school is anything like my schools, if you're anything like where I go to train, you guys all get on. Right? You before class, you're laughing, you're joking, you're having a good chat. After class, you're laughing, you're joking, you're having a good chat. There's a mutual respect there. Like, you obviously respect your coach because you go to train with them, you respect what they teach you, and you feel like they treat you in a way that makes you want to come back and want to keep learning from them. That's a beautiful thing. Why would you want to ruin that? And I completely understand why you might feel that if you punch your coach square in his face, that he might not appreciate that and that might affect the dynamics of your friendship. I'm assuming that's what you mean. And same with like other guys in the gym. Maybe you've only met them a few times. Maybe you're the new guy, and then suddenly you deck someone straight in the face. Maybe that's going to put a target on your back a little bit, and that makes you a little bit nervous. Completely understandable. The important thing to remember, and this does kind of reference the other video where I spoke on this, but it's worth reiterating often, is sparring is sparring. And it's a separate entity from everything else you do. We're raised, and most people are, to not want to hurt people, to not want to cause people intentional harm. Sometimes you're going to do things that's going to hurt people and upset people and it can't be helped. But I'm assuming, you're the kind of person who doesn't go out of your way to intentionally hurt people. Now, the problem with martial arts is that's kind of the game. You know what I mean? That's the objective, man. Your objective is, quite frankly, to hurt the other guy. Now, within training, we try to control and mitigate that. In striking, that means we don't hit full contact and we wear protective equipment to try and minimize the hurting. In grappling, jiu-jitsu, we tap out and we control how hard we pull on a submission in order to avoid hurting our training partners. But the mechanics of what you're doing, punching someone in the face, whichever way you look at it, man, that's gonna hurt somebody. Here's the thing to remember and understand. That's what you're there to learn, and that's what you're there to do. So by having the ability and punching your coach in the face, as far as I'm concerned, from my gym, that's a win, buddy. Yeah, well done. When my students punch me in the face, like get a clean shot off on me, more often than not, I stop the sparring just for a brief moment because I want to congratulate them on that moment. It's not me being like, oh, you can't hit me, I'm too good, and the one time you do, we're gonna throw a parade for you. But I want to acknowledge that you did the right stuff and that resulted in you landing that shot. It's a progression and it's a good thing. So I'm sure that if your coach is passionate about it and he's actively engaging with you guys in sparring, that he'd feel the same way. He would be proud of you for punching him in the face. Now, when you spar other people in the gym, you don't have control over what their emotions and feelings are like. Some guys will feel that way. They'll be like, oh yeah, good shot, man, well done, gonna get you back now, on my way. Other ones are going to take it resentfully. Who's this new guy? How's he hit me in the face? I'm going to teach him a lesson. Look at my video on how to deal with like bad eggs in the gym, bad people in the gym, because that's just a reality of the situation. Different people respond to getting hit in different ways. In our ideal situation though, whatever happens on the mats in the training room stays in the training room. In the sense that if you beat someone up in a sparring session within the scope of what you're doing, so I don't mean that you bully them, but I mean you dominate them, you hit them more than they hit you, and by the end of the round, you touch gloves and you walk away from each other, that should have no reflection on what your relationship is like when you two step off the mats. And if you're concerned about it, just make sure that you're being a good training partner both on and off the mats. Be sensitive, which you will clearly already are, because to even be having this conversation and asking this question and talking about things like feeling stressed, feeling anxious, that means that you've got a sensitivity anyway. But then just check in, right? After sparring, just be like, you cool, man? And then when you get off the mats, when everyone's calmed down, the testosterone's gone down in the room a bit, that's a great chance to just have a general chat, and it builds that camaraderie. But realistically, most people, if you're all in there for the same reason, which is learning how to kick and punch people, you're all trying to move that ball forward. You're all trying to improve. And your coach wants that for you. Don't be afraid of hitting your coach, but just understand you're fighting an instinct in you, which is how you were probably raised, which is don't hurt people, treat people nicely, treat people how you want to be treated. And then this sport of hit people, kick people, try to knock people out, and it's somewhere in between, right? You do want to treat people nicely, but we're trying to learn and progress in a sport that involves making contact, and you need to find that sweet spot in the middle. It doesn't mean that you flick a switch and become a complete asshole when you train and you start trying to knock each other out, but it also doesn't mean that you lean so much to this nicety in you that you then can't actually effectively compete or even train the sport. So dude, I hope that's been helpful for you, and some of you listening, I hope that's been helpful. If it has done, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We've got new videos coming every week, and I will see you on the next one.